Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about going up in weight, and that's weight of the bow and weight in the limbs. So I'm recovering from heart surgery, and you probably heard that before, but I've been very, very weak. So I couldn't even lift my old bow, let alone pull it back. So that wasn't an option. So I went for this low weight riser. This is a Xena from Fivix, and you're going like, yeah, you're doing an ad. This is the lightest weight aluminium riser. Really enjoyed it. That's the first thing. So I really enjoyed it. Nice and light, half the weight of a normal alloy riser, and I think I shot it really well. So I started off with lightweight limbs, about 20 pounds, and I've been building up over 2 weeks. So that's going really well. So I'm like, okay, I'm shooting okay. I want to build up for the Nationals in 8 weeks if I can get there. So I've been inspired by lots of the kids who've been coming into my shop in the last week, doing Trans-Tasman, which is New Zealand versus Australia. And I'm like, look, I want to compete again. So I want to try and build up. So I got myself some 32-pound limbs from the store. They're in the second-hand bit at the store. So I'm like, let's just chuck those on the bow and see how I go. So I put those in this riser, and then I'm like, well, I want to fit a clicker. So then I'm like, I'll grab that off the old bow. And because this bow was so light, I was like, well, I can add some stabilizers to it. And then I like, well, I need some stronger arrows. So I'll grab some more arrows, we'll shoot those. But then they had large groove nocks, so then I need new string. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll just grab my old bow and fit the new limbs to it. So that's where I'm up to. I'm up to grabbing my old bow and fitting some lighter limbs to it. So let's see where we're up to. So this is the Fivix Argon riser. It's like a standard weight riser, 1300 grams. That's your normal weight riser. The Xena's half the weight. Okay, so I fitted some of these limbs. Now these limbs had a slight, when I say defect, they were scratched through transportation where the little metal things touched. So they had these marks in. So we had them out, going out cheap, and they hadn't sold. So I'm like, well, I'll shoot them and I'll sell them off as second-hand limbs. Okay. So these are 32 pounds. So I fitted those to the Xena, and I'm like, okay, I can draw that, it's pretty hard, but I want to add stabilizers. And then I'm like, well, I pull off the clicker, pull off, and I'm like, well, let's just fit the riser. So as soon as I fitted the riser, it was significantly heavier to hold up. And as soon as I went to pull it back, I couldn't actually lift the bow. So I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. So I ripped off some of the weights off the stabilizers. So I'm going to sort of show you me shooting this bow. So I've taken the weights off the stabilizer, and we're just going to shoot. Now it's a terrible day, so I apologize for that, but I'm not going to get stronger, I'm not going to get better sitting inside watching TV. So as terrible it is out here, it's raining, it's windy and terrible and cold, I'm not going to get better sitting inside. So, and that's what you're going to want to do, sit inside. So let's just shoot. Now I'm going to say the first thing is my draw length's all over the place because I haven't been shooting with a clicker. My form's not great coming back. Now the extra weight in the drawing and the weight of the bow is affecting my form. So normally as a beginner jumps up in bow weight and bow poundage, the weight of the bow, I always say do it in small steps, but I'm trying to get stronger. I'm trying to get my strength back. So I'm like, well, maybe I can do this just through grunt force. So, you know, maybe we can shoot like 6 arrows, take a break and come and do it again tomorrow. So that's where I'm up to. It's not what I'd recommend for beginners, not what I recommend for anyone. I'd recommend using the other bow and gradually adding weight to it and building up slowly, because my form was so much better with the Xena. But I'm trying to build up my strength because I want to shoot a competition in 8 weeks. So, and this bow feels great to shoot. It's not that the Xena felt bad to shoot. It's got more weight, so it's just deader when you shoot. Like you shoot the bow and just sits there in your hand. And it's all kind of set up for me because that's what I used to shoot before the operation. So I'm just trying to get, I can feel the weight there, I can feel it there, I can feel it there, I can feel it there. I can feel the pain. A little bit in the chest, I can feel the pain, but not too bad in the chest. But the shoulders. Now I'm doing weights to try and build that up as well. Cardio. I'm always going to harp on every video because people say to me, especially beginners, I've got really good form, I don't talk the bow, I don't do this. Been shooting for 40 years, I'm telling you my form is terrible. So, like, it can be improved. So if you think, look, I'm excellent, you're never going to be any good. That's my view, and I'm not saying you beat yourself up. I'm saying you look for ways to improve. You always look for how you can get better, how you can, and it comes to whether it's business or work, ask yourself how you can get better. And it ain't inside watching TV. So it was really hard for me because I was like, well, let's fit my old string to the Xena, but the position between the grip and the RS is different, so the string wouldn't fit. So I'm like, well, it's just easier to grab the other bow. So when you change stuff and you want to progress up, like you want to fit a clicker, then the arrows need to be the right length. There's a whole process to go through to do it. Like when you want to add stabilizers, you just don't throw on heaps of weight. You gradually build them up. Whoa. Now that was terrible. Like I was struggling pulling through the clicker because I'm not feeling my back engaging. I'm feeling so much pain through the shoulders here and the timing. I just haven't got the timing correct yet. Like this is my first arrows with this bow, with the higher poundage, with the stabilizers. And part of the reason I do these videos is to give you information about when you go up in weight and stabilizers, weight and bow length. Like this is too much of a step for me, but I'm hoping I can build it up, and I'm hoping my muscles will recover. Because for me, like if you're starting off, your muscles are going to build up slowly. For me, like I've got more movement. I couldn't do that like last week. I couldn't do like this. Still hurts, but I didn't have that level of movement like last week. So I'm trying to build it all back up. Now, just as a comparison, what's my level of strength right now? Probably equivalent to about a 10 to 11-year-old person. So 32-pound bow, you know. So one of the girls who came in the shop yesterday, I asked her what poundage she shoots. She shoots about a 30-pound bow. I'm like, that would be really difficult shooting 60 meters with a 30-pound bow. And I'm like, well, I think I can get there shortly, but then I'm going to have trouble shooting the bigger distances. So I've got to try and build it up. And you're shooting, it's no use going to a bow poundage you can't handle, but your shooting's going to get better as you increase your bow poundage as long as you can handle it. This is with recurve, it's going to come off your fingers cleaner as long as you can handle it, as long as your form's all solid still. You don't want to be like doing this, and I'm doing a bit of that now. I feel like I'm doing a bit of that. I'm feeling like, oh, I'm struggling getting through. You don't want to be doing that. But it's no use shooting a bow and going, oh, I shot 120 arrows, fine. Like one of the ladies at the archery club that I shoot at, she said I shot 300 arrows today. I'm like, how do you feel? And she goes, great. I'm like, what poundage are you shooting? I think she said 26 pounds. It's like, you should be pushing yourself. You should be up in the next poundage. Like, if you can shoot 300 arrows at that poundage, that's just crazy. You should be up in the next pound bracket. You should be shooting like 90 arrows. And it should be hurting the muscles in the back. You should be feeling it. And like, well, I've done a hard day's work, so now I go home and rest. And when it's easy, that's the stage to step up. Unless you're shooting competitions and then you're just trying to get the quantity of arrows up so you don't fatigue. But the bow feels great to shoot. Now, I'm going to say I've shot, these are the Wind & Win Motive F5 limbs. These are a foam limb. They're fairly inexpensive. Now, I've shot faster limbs than these, the Ukers, the MX10s, a lot faster limbs, but I shot really well with the FivX limbs. I'm not even going to go at the Wind & Win limb because most limbs are pretty similar and the results are almost identical from my perspective. Although, like I said, your MX10s, your Ukers will be faster, which you may want for the distance, but they are harder to draw, so you get nothing for nothing. So a limb which is slower will be easier for you to draw because it'll be peaking later, so less muscles are required. Now I'm struggling getting it through the clicker. Like that one I pulled through a bit. So I'm still working on the timing because the muscles hurt. Archery is not a sport where you go, look, got it mastered, 40 years. And there's going to be some people go, oh look, I'm pretty good after doing this for 2 years. Okay, 40 years time, hopefully you're better than you are now. Struggled. And one of my fears I have is after this surgery that I won't get back to where I was at before, that I'll never get back to the strength, I'll never get the form back, and it's deep down in me that I'm like, I don't want that. I like literally every year I generally get better, and I'm in a fear that at my age I've now hit a peak where I don't get better, that it's all downhill from now, and that's a scary thing. But my view is I've just got to work harder, so we'll see how that goes. Now we'll just go and check those arrows and see how they are on the target. Okay, so I'm up here at the target. Now that's not horrible. It felt horrible, and I'm not saying the bow felt horrible. My technique and all that didn't feel good. I can feel pressure there, I can feel pressure there. And when I say pressure, it's like pain there and there. But that's what we're at. So for me, like, I'm happy with this. I figure I'll shoot a few arrows, take a break. I'll probably go and do walking now on the treadmill. I'll do some weights. I'll try and eat some healthy stuff. It's building up. That's where I'm up to. So again, recurve archery, build up the bow weight slowly. There's nothing that scares me more than kids, and I'm going to say people who have got a bow that's too heavy for them. I see kids come in and they're like, whoa, look at this. Oh, I'm like, whoa. And they always seem to know more than I do. So that's always like, this is how you draw a back bow. Like, I'm like, okay, see you later. So bows that are too heavy, bows which have a mass weight which is too heavy, they're the things you want to avoid. But you want to build up slowly towards it. So if the bow's like the bow mass weight, it's not hurting you and there's no aches and pains, maybe just add a little bit of weight to it. And so see see how it is. It takes time to build it up, and your scores may decrease, right? So they may go down because you're struggling with that weight. And to me, it reminds me of I'm going to say the cartoon Dragon Ball Z, where the guy trains with all these weights on, which you don't realize he's doing to make himself stronger, and then when he's ready to enter in a tournament, he takes off all the weights and he's like super strong. All right, archery is very much like that. You want to build up, so you want to add weight, add strength, build stuff. Cannot stress it enough, and do it slowly. It's no use struggling. It's no use shooting a tournament and be struggling in that tournament, because that's not what you want. You want to shoot a tournament when you're comfortable with that weight, of the weight of the bow and the weight of the poundage. That's when you shoot a tournament. But you build up to the tournament. So shooting the bow weight, which is heavier, and the strength, which is heavier, if that makes sense. So build up to it, and when you're comfortable with it, that's when you enter the tournament. I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching.